Her bob is something serious.
They do more ketamine on this show than a club in Bushwick.
He said, I'm coming hungry, I'm leaving happy.
That's so, you don't have any like really unusual boundaryless relationships with like your direct superior?
You know what? That Lady Gaga, she's got talent.
Whoa, me? That, actually, I'll sit with that.
I love a mean, surly individual.
But the original one, and I say this with so much love and respect in my heart, tastes like licking the floor.
She's chuggy, just like Hamilton.
Talk about working my nerves. I went to Catholic school and I find it all a little bit much. Girl, how are you doing?
I am good, actually. But I am good because I just hit 50 days of being sober.
Oh.
What is that roaring round of applause?
Oh.
People falling to their knees.
Great.
Yeah. But I will say, the thing about sobriety that is difficult, I thought that going out would feel harder, but it actually is totally normal and fine. I thought that would be more difficult for me. And I love to judge, so I love to watch people act a fool. And I also still act a fool, but just more conscious of the way I'm doing it. But the thing that is hard is like, I have only been ordering like soda water bitters and I'm done.
Oh.
And the soda water and bitters combo, it tastes like dirt. I'm like, why are we doing this to ourselves if we have other options? I'm not into mocktails because I don't want to pay $15 for
juice. Yeah.
Juice.
Let's say it.
I started trying some non-alcoholic spritzes. I went down the my name is Bella Hadid road, and that's not my girl. Maybe with some lime. Again, it's giving glorified juice. I guess it's good for like if you want to calm your nerves or whatever. And then I'm like on this journey and this hunt. I tried the Gia. Have you tried Gia?
Yeah.
Okay, the bottle.
The
like,
bottle is like sparkling,
bottle,
right? It's like fizzy.
No.
Oh.
There might be a fizzy version of it, but the original one, and I say this with so much love and respect in my heart, tastes like licking the floor. Tastes like dirt. But... And I'm so sorry to the Gia girls. I think that they're great people and the bottle is beautiful. But I did try the can version. I think that's where, if anyone is not drinking right now or looking for an alternative, Gia ginger and then like the sumac and chili one are actually my sisters. But really, Hunter's like, I don't care about this. I'm drinking. But like, she's like, girl, I'm having a glass of wine right after this podcast.
I understand that I'll never understand, but girl, I'll stand.
She still stands.
I'll stand.
I will say my life has been changed for the better from the, I don't know how to pronounce it, APOLS, Appalls or something. They have a margarita, like non-alcoholic drink that it tastes like we're about to turn into those white women from White Lotus, bitch, and we're about to talk some shit. Okay, I'm swirling that thing like it's real on a nice, a little big ice cube, a little squeeze of lime. Oh, woo, we're so bad.
Do you do like the phony Negronis?
I don't like Negronis to begin with. So.
Oh, yeah, neither do I. I don't even know why I would ask about that.
I know. I was like,
well, I was with some of our friends and one of them ordered one at the bar and I was like, that's in like a little cute whatever bottle or whatever. Okay, let me tell you about your niece. Remy.
What's she up to?
Whitney Lanethia Harris. She has been, talk about working my nerves. She is so funny. She has this one, okay, so you know all dogs love like the lammies, the lamb chop toys.
Yes,
and Remy has one that I call her Wicked Lammy because it's a Halloween lammy that has a witch's hat on it. It's her Alphaba Lammy. And sometimes she like wakes up, comes out of the crate, has the lammy in her mouth already, jumps in the bed, and I'm like, oh, she's starting. Like, she is starting.
She gonna have an attitude today.
She really, like, she's already ready. And the way that she will try to, like want me to, like, play fetch with it, but then will, like, run away at the last minute. Like, her yabba dabba do ass, her feet on the hardwood, like, scrambling, running. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so me. Like,
my favorite sound in the universe is Remy's paws running on that hardwood floor. Ugh.
She's persistent. Although I was with someone who was like, oh, you have like a little white dog, right? With like stuff around their eyes. I said, oh, you called me a monkey. That's what you just called me. So you want me dead. So you want me dead.
Wait, with stuff around their eyes is actually, that's crazy. They want you dead.
No, yeah, it was bad. It was bad. No, it was fine.
Wait, how old is Remy? Is she a teenager now?
She's
in like
2
dog years, whatever that is.
No, now she's like really. Remy is at the age where she is Saoirse Ronan in the third act of Lady Bird, when she's on her way to college and she's walking through the street. She gets like really drunk at that NYU dorm, has to go to the hospital, and then is like calling her mom, being like, "Okay, mom, I love you. It's Christine. It's the name you gave me. It's a good one."
I just wanted a straight answer, by the way, but I'll take what I can get these days. I'll take what I can
That
get.
is actually so mean of you to say. No, suddenly it's illegal to be long-winded on this podcast. Okay.
And I knew you would take it there. Ooh, you're so nasty. You always got to get a lick back.
What
That's
can
one
I
thing
say?
about you.
If you couldn't tell, I've had a little bit of me espresso.
Put that shot down.
I feel like that Snoop Dogg video at the Lakers game.
Oh my God.
I thought you were from LA. Okay, this week we are checking in, clocking in, locking in to the Pitt, my new favorite TV show. And we'll be talking about the Real Housewives of Atlanta, the new reboot.
And we're joined by DJ Louie XIV, yes, to discuss Lady Gaga's new album, Mayhem. We legally needed a Gaga gay to come talk to us about this.
And I love to learn. So let me just say this.
Let me say this.
Are you looking for a home for your worst opinions?
Are you a hater first, but a lover of pop culture second? Consider this a glorified group chat, but we're not calling you out. No. We're calling you in. It's a safe space.
To talk shit.
But of course, from Wondery, I'm Peyton Dix.
And I'm Hunter Harris.
And this is Let Me Say This.
Let me say this.
Let me say this.
Let me say this. Let me say this.
I have started, honestly, I don't even know why I started watching, a little show called The Pitt. And let me
I have to say, I know why I started watching.
because I said, or because Sarah.
No, Meg. I have to give credit where credit is due. Meg, in my breakup, Meg was like, maybe just get your head out of the game and watch The Pitt. And at that time, I was so broken down bad. I was like, not now, Meg. Our friend Meg Zukin, who we love and adore.
Yes.
But I was like, stop trying to push this show on me. Like, this is not the part of healing I'm on. And then I finally found, Air, came up for Air, and I pressed play, and I had to apologize to her for holding back. I should have hopped into The Pit sooner.
It is so good. Okay, let me tell you the log line for people who are not pitified
Pit-pilled.
already. Yes.
Pitified.
Okay, quote, the daily lives of healthcare professionals in a Pittsburgh hospital as they juggle personal crises, workplace politics, and the emotional toll of treating critically ill patients, revealing the resilience required in their noble calling. So every episode on this show is an hour in the workday of an emergency room in Pittsburgh, starring Noah Weil as Dr. Rabinovich or Dr. Robbie. So basically it is a little television program called ER, but set in present day. And let me tell you this, they do more ketamine on this show than a club in Bushwick. Like, oh my God, every possible medical malady, 30 cc's ketamine, please.
Okay, you phrase that though as if the doctors are railing ketamine. And I was like, wait,
maybe so.
Well, and we'll talk about that more later.
Let me say spoiler alert. If you haven't watched, like you need to clock in, lock in. But yeah, we're gonna be spoiling some stuff.
We're gonna make a Maxinista out of you, though. You need to be watching the show. But the way you phrase that and the way you have said that to me before, I was like, Hunter, like, wait, they're not doing ketamine. Hold on. But yeah, ketamine really. Maybe she's that girl, even though I can say on the record she's not that girl for me. But unfortunately, I try, give it a good honest try. But I will say I have no history with medical dramas. I was never really into like Grey's or ER, or I feel like there's a third main one I'm missing. But did you watch any of those shows? Do they mean anything to you? And does this feel different if you have?
I've never watched ER because I'm young.
Oh,
I have watched a little bit of Grey's. I watched like Grey's Anatomy when I was in middle school, and then I kind of around the time of when Sandra Oh left, I was like, oh, if Christina's gone, I'm gone. Like that's my girl.
Yeah.
But it is funny having like really only watched a medical drama that's Grey's Anatomy. When I'm watching The Pitt, I'm like, so wait, you guys aren't like fucking in the break room like every like couple shifts? Like that's so crazy to me. That's so you don't have any like really unusual boundaryless relationships with like your direct superior. What's going on here?
Not yet. There is a one storyline that we'll get into later when we unpack some of the characters that I'm kind of like, now kiss. And it's not who you think it is. But
Oh God, I don't even want to know what that is actually. But first I have to tell you, my favorite like meta part of this show is the like legal dispute between one of the creators of ER, like their estate, and this show. So one of the co-creators of ER, who's dead, his estate alleges in a lawsuit that the Pitt was created as a sequel to ER without the permission of like the estate and the heirs. And the creators of the Pitt say that it's not an ER reboot and that it's more similar. It's not as similar to ER as it is to like Grey's Anatomy or any other medical drama. But that is like so funny to me that it is so, I don't know. For that, I'm like, I guess I don't watch enough like medical dramas to really know what's the difference between like any medical drama and like this medical drama, you know?
Yeah, I'm just kind of, I think it's fine to have like a few. I don't know if this, I mean, I love mess, but I feel like let's just all let it go. We're doing something different here. And it seems like they're shooting this on the smallest of budgets to just like, I mean, the handheld camera for everything. I do kind of like.
That's
but
called
I'm also
mise en
like,
scene. What are you talking about? Oh my gosh. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It's giving Max. It has what Max? Oh my God, I never call it that. HBO is like, here's $2 in a dream. Go make magic and come back to us.
No. I would like to see like a and lawsuit that's like, wait, Dr. Robbie is actually so hot. Like House should be calling like that show. It's like you can't have a hot doctor without being like,
I loved House and that little cane.
Yes,
that's
yes.
weird.
that was my man though. That was my man. I didn't play about him.
Robbie, when I first was like just scrolling on Twitter, seeing like more and more Pitt memes. Honestly, that was probably one of the more convincing factors to me to be like, okay, I'm feeling left out. I'm having FOMO and I want to understand what's going on. But I did not understand the appeal of this man. I was like, him is who we're all being horny over? Like,
that's so crazy. He seems like your type. I got
the fan cams of my girl with the tight braid. The
tight braid? Who's that?
She is like one of the maybe intern girls, glasses, tight low braid, blonde, has an
yes.
sister.
You know what? She's a Nepo baby.
Thank God.
She's Bryan Cranston's daughter, I learned over the weekend. And let me tell you, doesn't make a difference to me. I'm like,
don't care, she's fab.
She is amazing. She's one of the few Nepo babies where I'm like, I ride for you regardless. Like, you're no Gracie Abrams. I love you. I love you up and down.
I love her character so much. I love her so much. I will say that I understood. I just looked at her and I said, I get it.
Yeah.
Dr. Robbie, I didn't. But again, me and these 4 headlines, something's coming up with that I'm going to unpack later. But once I clocked into the Pitt, once I signed my waiver, I went in, I filled out my medical forms. I said, Robbie, can I call you Robbie? That man and his integrity, the way he takes care.
And let's talk about it. Don't talk about it, be about it. So Dr. Robbie, he's both so like sweet, calm, kind, exceptionally patient, which as an impatient gal, I'm like, ooh, I need to take a few notes. But he's also like the man you want to call in a crisis. And I bet he can mount a TV too. I bet he's mounted a few TVs. Like he knows what to do.
Put the instructions down. He said, give me the toolbox. Let's get to work. Yeah. No, I'm like, he's so deliberate. He's so firm.
He's so decisive. He's so like right in the nick of time. I love it. I love a man who has a sense of urgency. That is rare in our society. Let me say that.
And a great nose. Great nose.
Yeah, 100%. And I like the sound of his voice is so good too. So he is the main character on the show, and he has like a team of attendings and interns, and then there is the nurse, the charge nurse. She is you know what did we say a couple weeks ago? Like, how you have that white bitch that you don't play about? Her.
Right
when she later in the series, like she gets punched in the face, and I'm like, oh wait, I'm going door to door.
But her bob is something serious. Her glasses and her cigarette smoking and her voice is really the sexy voice.
It really is.
She can mount a TV actually.
A nurse with a bob who will smoke outside, girl. Stronger than the troops.
Wait, can you tell me some of your favorite characters and some of your least favorite characters?
Okay. Favorite characters. The charge nurse, that young blonde intern that we talked about. I think she is like just so understanding and understanding in a way that's not like patronizing, you know?
Yeah.
Like genuinely wants to know people's struggles and help them without, you know, being a little bit finger waggy, which I like.
Yeah.
I also like the doctor with those bad bangs, kind of dry, giving dry ends, but with the ankle monitor. With the hot ex-husband and the son named
Yes,
Harrison.
yeah.
I love her because again, she is like always there in the nick of time and a really good like teacher. I think the Pitt is kind of like a romance about like what it means to actually want to like teach and share information in a way that is kind of lovely to me. Like that they have these like teacher-student relationships on the show. I mean, it happens between the blonde doctor and the man with the butt chin and the young like prodigy doctor and the ankle monitor doctor. Girl, I don't know anyone's name.
I was gonna say, get it together. Oh my god.
Look at oh, you know their names? Oh, you know their names?
Well, I wrote them down because we have a podcast. Jesus, what the fuck? Yeah.
Okay, and let's see. Do I have any other favorites? Oh, I love the old woman in the wheelchair, Myrna, that runs around catcalling Dr. Robbie. I'm like, oh, and you know who else I love? Who is the other doctor that's like the Dr. Robbie like equivalent?
Dr. Langdon?
No.
Oh wait,
no,
the black woman with the short hair.
No, I mean she's fine. But is it Dr. Adams? Is his name? Let me look it up. Hold on.
The one that died?
No.
Okay.
Dr. Abbott. Dr. Abbott. The sexy one who used to be in the military or something. And he's like, don't talk to me. I love a mean, surly individual. I feel very seen.
I was going to say, is that mean, surly individual in the room with us right now?
Well, not in the room with you, because aren't you in LA?
Oh. So my favorite... Obviously, Dr. Robbie, obviously Myrna. I just love like a character that's just a fixture in the space. Like if you haven't watched, know that Myrna is just like an old hag she's in a wheelchair and she's handcuffed to it at all times and she's constantly trying to get out of it. I also love I think he's like an unhoused man that is always asking for a sandwich. He's like me for real.
Yes.
He said, I'm coming hungry. I'm leaving happy.
Yeah.
I love him. I will say Dana Evans, that's a doctor, or no, sorry, that's a charge nurse.
Mm-hmm.
And who I don't like, yes, Dr. Santos or the intern Santos.
Oh, yeah.
That's like, her attitude problem is annoying. Her like bullying to make you like me. Okay, are we in 7th grade?
No,
Cody?
I really can't stand her. And I saw like some headline that's like, oh, she's been redeemed because she alleges, again, spoiler alert, she alleges that one of the attendings, one of the
Dr. Langdon
residents. I think Dr. Langdon has been like secretly like stealing like medication and no one really believes her. And like she's kind of like, you know, ostracized for saying it. And then it turns out that Dr. Robbie goes through his locker and he was stealing medication. And it's like, okay, well, is she redeemed now? In my eyes, no. She was still annoying from the very beginning. Like she was right, but she was annoying about it.
Absolutely.
Many
and
such
two
cases
things can be true at once. But I was going to ask you, if we're going to that, do you think that he was taking the drugs or that there's a deeper story that's happening here?
I don't know and I don't care.
Not aesthetically. He looks like a Ken doll to me, or not even like an off-budget
You know what he looks like?
Who?
Skinny Gaston from Beauty and the Beast.
He looks like a knockoff Matt Bomer to me.
Oh.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. With the really dark hair. Yeah, I can see that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't really care for him. But I did like that he came back in the nick of time when he returned to the hospital.
Oh my God.
love that.
Yeah, big spoiler. I also really don't like, and I really want to like, I think her name is Dr. Moran? Moran or
is
something
she
like that. She's the one that's like, she's slow-mo, that they call her slow-mo. Yeah. And she like takes her time and I'm like kind of like, she's too goody two-shoes to me in a way that I kind of want her to get hit a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little. Yeah. Just a backhand. Just like come on, let's go. We have business to do.
I need someone to kind of tell her about herself. Like, because she can be a little bit like condescending in a way that is annoying. But
something that I think tonally in the show, like speaking of her and that character type, that doesn't always land for me, but I do wish was the way more people communicated, is how easily resolved everything is when someone's like, hey, I think you might have been a little biased against like, or fat phobic. And she's like, whoa, me? That actually, I'll sit with that. And I'm going to think about what you just brought to me. And you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust my language so next time I'll do better. Thanks for that. I'm like, a white woman acting like that in what world?
No, well,
was like,
I think it's
be
because
real.
like the like medical staff, the doctors on the show can have to like find resolutions quickly because like the patients are so chaotic. Not even chaotic, but just like have so much story, have so much like complication. Which is what that I like about the show, that like the patients really do feel like pretty realized in a short amount of time. I'm thinking about the like child patients that are like, I was like really getting emotional about those patients. The pregnant Black woman surrogate with her like to like the couple that she was being a surrogate for is like her coworker at a school or something. And then I really loved the elderly Black man who had like a lot of medical knowledge, but like no one really knew why. And they thought, did he used to work at this hospital? But he drove a kind of like a makeshift ambulance like for like during the time of segregation. Yeah. And I thought that was like I'm so happy that that story was like on TV. And I thought it was also like really wonderfully done in only like in like a very short amount of time.
Yeah. I mean, I'm charmed by most of the patients. I just find myself pulling out of these moments sometimes that get a little bit too after school special, where it's like the daughter walks in, her mother's hurt, and she's like, I mean, it all goes back to 1998. That was when we first had. It's like, wait, well, hold on. Like, people don't really communicate like this, and that's like maybe some do, but we can't all be open, honest creatures at some points. But I'm fine with that. I understand that it has that after school special feel that obviously I'm an after school special type of bitch, so it works for me in the end. But I do find myself laughing.
yeah. But I have not. A TV show has not made me so sad in like the way that one like young girl wants to get an abortion and her mom is like so against it, and yet her aunt is like, no, that's my girl, I've got you. Like what how can we make this happen for you? Yeah. Those kind of like moral conundrums I think the show does pretty well. But yeah, I'm like, I can't believe I'm watching a medical drama. And like,
me too. Someone
that's
like
so
me.
unlike
and I hate blood. I do often have to go like this when I'm watching so that I don't, I cannot do blood. I can feel it in my toes. I go numb. I hate it. But every single night, every single day, every single hour, I lock into the pit and I press play. Something that I think about when I'm watching it though, is every time we have a COVID flashback, I'm like, oh yeah, COVID. And I simply forgot, as someone who isn't in the medical industry, how really crazy and difficult that time was and how traumatic it must be and how all these doctors and nurses are still dealing with the pain of that. Yeah. And just how impressive it is to work in the ER because they're delivering babies. They're intubating every single person, pumping ketamine out every which way. And I think that it's one of the few shows that I, one, don't mind a COVID integration, and two, find it actually quite necessary to really think about how this wasn't a distant future and how this is still so traumatizing and so difficult for so many people that work in the healthcare industry. My God.
Yeah. You know what? I think that's like a really underappreciated, like by me, piece of the show. Because when they have the COVID flashbacks, I'm like, oh, yeah, totally. But the drama just in every day of the ER, every hour of the ER, I think that is like such a good conceit, because it really does feel like, oh my gosh, like it can be anything at any one time. It's like being on Twitter. It's like, who knows what's going to happen today?
Yeah. I could survive watching the pit. I could not survive working in the pit.
No.
When that boy got pissed on, no. See, okay, I'm clogging out. Here's my bat. Nope, I'm out. Like, I'm done.
Wow. Okay, but I mean, I'm ready. I love this show. I'm like, I want 4 seasons immediately.
You'd be a good nurse. You'd be able to. You like yelling at people. So
bitch, no, I would not be.
So just to be transparent, okay, we on this podcast, we tell the truth, all right? So Hunter and I are allies to the Pause Up community. We are here with you. We stand with you. We see you, little monsters.
We see each other.
But we really needed to make sure that we had a true proper TM Gaga gay with us to talk about Mayhem.
So
it's only right.
Yes.
And thank God today with us, we have DJ Louie the 14th, period, DJ, writer, host of podcast Pop Pantheon. Thank you for joining us. This will be an educational format more than anything else, but we're so happy to have you here.
Oh, I'm so thrilled to be here.
Thank you for
I'm
being
on this
here.
earth to teach about the divas. That's why I was born. So
And
I'm going
I-
to fulfill my life's purpose.
I have a curious mind. I'm ready to learn.
Oh, okay, good. Everybody soak this up like a sponge. The history of the Germanadas. We're going to go back to Sicily.
Okay, we ask everyone who comes on the show a quick intro question, and it is, are you like a lover or a hater? How do you identify?
I would say I identify mostly as a lover, but I would say like a lot of my audience probably thinks I'm more of a hater than I am, and it bothers me, which is why I know that I'm a lover. Does that make sense?
Yes, because
Yeah.
when I think about you, I'm like, okay, Louie has an encyclopedic knowledge of pop,
Yes.
of women in pop specifically.
Mhm.
And that only comes from being a lover, I think. You have
I
to
agree.
love to like learn.
For sure.
You have to love knowledge. You have to love women. You have to love pop.
And do I
Yeah.
love women? Let me tell you, women are
Two-
my number one. Like as
Me-
people,
baby,
as
me
pop
too.
stars. Like I don't need the rest. Just give me the women.
Yeah.
No. I mean, I honestly do think even good criticism is an act of love.
Yeah.
Not to be too philosophical here, but I
Absolutely.
don't feel like if you come from a hatery perspective, you can actually like do good art criticism.
No, that is 100% true.
Yeah.
Okay, we want to go rapid fire.
Okay.
Are you a
Yes.
lover or hater? Gaga edition.
Okay. Let's go.
Lover, hater of the fame.
Lover. Like a truly seminal album for me. I was, 22 or so when that album came out. I had just moved back to New York. I was finishing school. I thought I was super cool and cunty and slaying the game. And I just started my also associated with the beginning of my DJ career. So like I remember playing those songs as they blew up, like in the little bars I was playing in the Lower East Side, which is where she's from. So it was a whole thing.
You
know?
were really like
Yeah.
you were in the room when it happened.
She's my
On the ground floor,
yeah, literally
yeah.
that. She's chuggy just like Hamilton. And that's why you're okay. Listen, she's really like the same age as me, so we're like we move in tandem. I feel like
Yeah.
we're like right
Yeah.
around the same everything. We hit
You
all the
see
same
each other.
milestones.
Yes,
That's right.
yes.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Okay, lover, hater,
Mhm.
Born This Way.
Lover, my number one favorite Gaga album, like the album where her like ambition met her like pop cultural zeitgeist and like everything happened perfectly. It's never been that good again, I would say.
Oh wow.
Wow.
I'm talking album
Okay.
too more than song.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
L-
Okay.
Lover, hater, art pop.
Okay, so I've had an interesting journey with art pop. When art pop came out, that was kind of like a fissure point for me in my Lady Gaga journey. I just found it kind of ugly.
Mm-hmm.
But in retrospect, I see it as kind of like the last Imperial Gaga moment, and I appreciate it a lot more. I think it's 2/3 or so. I think Lindsay Zoled's from the New York Times said this recently. It's like 2/3 or so misunderstood, 1/3 like true garbage. But like I miss that kind of like unbridled Gaga energy. Like I feel like we've never gotten like unhemmed Gaga again. Like she's been a cautious creature since that moment because I think there was so much backlash to that album. But I see it as kind of like the end of the opening salvo of Gaga. So I have more love for it in retrospect than I did at the moment.
Girl, let me get a pen so I can take some notes.
I am saying, I was like, why is this feeling spiritual to me?
No,
I feel
pop-
the presence of God in the room with us right now.
Pop
Like,
girlies are
something's happening.
spiritual to me. This is my
Yes.
church. Welcome to my sermon.
Okay, another divisive album. Lover, hater, Joanne.
Hater. I don't like Joanne. I think Joanne
that was the
like,
pink cowboy hat.
Yeah, pink cowboy hat. That
Mhm.
was like her, like, I'm a singer-songwriter now. Like, I'm stripping away artifice to like give you the real me,
Mm.
which is like a kind of raucous trope that I don't appreciate, generally speaking.
Mm-hmm.
I also think it was as much of a drag act. It was as much of a drag act as anything else that she's done before. But it just like the songs aren't there. Like I think there's maybe 2 or 3 songs I would take from that record, and she can keep the rest.
Okay.
Which
Love-
2 or 3?
Oh,
I
I'm
would
curious.
say I've come to really enjoy the like sort of bizarre first single, Perfect Illusion. I like the sort of like this kind of like barroom stompery song called Ayo, and I like the opening song, which is called Diamond Heart, which is kind of like Gaga in like Bruce Springsteen mode, which is another kind of good guys for her, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lover, hater, Chromatica.
Kind of like mid. Like I think Chromatica is like when I talk about Gaga being kind of like hemmed in, I hear Chromatica. It's like kind of return to dance floor after like Joanne, which was like a detour for her, but like missing some of the like chaotic craziness that like defines
Yeah.
the best Gaga music. Like a little bit tame, a little anodyne, like too not rough around the edges enough, just sort of too pristine, like kind of boring, I think.
Which brings us to
Hey, lover, hater, Mayhem.
I'm lover on Mayhem. Like,
All right.
you know, it's been since Born This Way that I have unabashedly had good feelings towards a Gaga album when it's come out, and it feels good to be back.
I love that
That's
you
what I'm
said that.
seeing on the streets. That's what I'm seeing on the gay man streets. Like they're smoking cigs again. We're putting the vapes down. We're listening to old Gaga. We're returning to our roots.
Yeah, 38-year-old gay men are like feeling their 22-year-old oats. Like, is that good or bad for society? I don't know. I'll let you guys be the judge of that. Wait, okay, so where are you guys at on Mayhem?
I like it. Abracadabra is really an earworm. Stuck in my head like you wouldn't believe.
Yes.
And I'm, again, I mean, my Gaga knowledge is not the greatest, mostly because I went to Catholic school and I found it all a little bit much.
Okay. Well, excuse me.
No, I was just...
That is so... You are so auntie-coded.
You were like, no.
No, I mean, I loved Born This Way. I loved, at my Zumba class that I went to in high school, we would listen to You and I as like our cool down stretch.
Amazing
I mean, perfect
song.
song.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't really until A Star Is Born, a little indie feature called A Star Is Born that I locked in, and I was like, oh. And we're far from the shallow now.
Okay, wait. Before we got on, Peyton, I don't know if you heard this, but I was like, that is the most boomer ass like entree point to Gaga. Like, are you kidding me? That was the same exact moment that my parents were like, you know what? That Lady Gaga, she's got talent.
She's got something up her sleeve.
Yeah.
But that's knowing Hunter. It's like exactly
me.
Like that makes exact sense that was your entry point into Lady
No, of course.
Gaga.
I was born drinking coffee, sitting on a front porch, gossiping about the neighbors. I was born to do that. That's actually my calling.
I love that.
So I want to quickly, can you give us some context into like the pre-Mayhem Gaga era? Because it was like she was doing the pharmaceutical stuff. She has a new man.
You know that firsthand?
What is Nurtec
look
actually?
at her album.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to like reveal your medical history.
No, I'm happy to do that.
I'm going to say HIPAA. She has the boyfriend who was like, we need you to lock in and get back in the studio and like make pop music again. And then the third little piece of it is that she'd done films. She'd started doing like Star Is Born stuff, and then unfortunately was in like two of the
she had done films for
most
better,
unfortunate
for better and worse.
forays into big budget filmmaking, which was the House of Gucci and the Joker sequel.
Absolutely, yes. Unfortunately, that did happen, and I did sift through both of those movies. I will say, she's kind of the best part of both of those movies, which like isn't saying much.
Yeah, that's but not like, without a doubt.
I mean, The Joker was really one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. But
yes.
Okay, so here's how I would characterize it. I think Gaga had done a really effective job in the last half of the 2010s into the early 2020s of kind of moving above the fray of like pop star, qua pop star, like just kind of like singles game, having to have hits on the chart. Like she had a really spotty track record, but because of bringing boomers like yourself into the fold, she had done this thing where she was like, I'm bigger than that. Like I'm a movie star. Like I'm respected by like rock lovers, like parents like me. Like I'm an Academy Award winner. Like and the Tony Bennett thing was a huge part of that too. Like she like was like, I'm kind of old school. Like I'm an old school all around like 4-quadrant entertainer. And I think like her pop career had sort of gone a little, in my opinion, and other people will disagree, I think had kind of become secondary to her. I think it had become this thing that she felt almost like compelled to return to because there's a huge group of core fans that like are still attached to 2008 through 2013 Lady Gaga when she was at her like peak zany kookiness. And that was huge for people, not just because the music was great and because that was a really exciting thing. I mean, when she first blew up, like Hunter, I mean, you missed this train, but she was a different person every single day. Like she walked out the house, she was like wearing a lobster on her head.
I remember the meat dress.
Yes. I mean, like it was a really auspicious and exciting and like singular pop star arrival. Like I can't think of a single other star's arrival in my personal lifetime that was that like all consuming and sort of crazy. Like right out the gate, she just was like huge. So you add that to the fact that like, you know, she meant a lot to a lot of gay guys because Born This Way was this like huge seminal album of a pop star really like expressing allyship in somewhat clunky, but really, really, really like big, bear hug ways from like a pop diva to their gay fans. So there's a lot of core Gaga fans that are really attached to that era. I don't think she's that attached to that era. We could talk about Mayhem because it is kind of a return to that in some ways. But I think she kind of moved on from that and became this kind of like grande dame, like, multifaceted pop cultural figure who can do all this stuff. And then I think she would kind of every 4 years be like, oh shit, like the little monsters like need to get fed. Like we got to feed the little monsters. And so
she opens a dungeon.
Right,
she's like, oh shit.
And so she'd be like, I gotta throw like some red meat at them. She
what
starts
can
like,
what can I feed you?
yeah, she's like tossing red meat at these like rabid like F words on the street. Okay. So sorry. So that's how I felt about her pop career for a long time. Like it just didn't, I felt like she kind of lost the thread slightly. And it was like sort of sad to me, even though like I like songs from Joanne and Chromatica. Yeah. It just felt like her heart wasn't in it. So coming into this album, I was trepidatious because I still think she's spread sort of thin. And I still think like, I don't know if she gets like who she is as a pop star in this moment, like in that part of her career. So for me, there was trepidation and anxiety going into this era. And then when I heard Disease and Abracadabra, it was this mixture of like, oh, these are really good Lady Gaga songs, but I don't hear like an evolution. Like I hear somebody going back towards like what they did in 2009, 2010. And like great, great, great pop stars in my estimation, like Beyonce or Madonna, don't do that usually. Like everything is about moving forward. What's the next thing? How do I like expand what I'm doing? So I get shaky when I see stuff like that. So that was where I was kind of like entering the album.
Okay.
But can I quickly ask you what you thought about 5'2"? Did you watch
Yes,
that?
I loved 5'2". I mean, she also really struggled physically, we should say.
Yeah.
Like, that was crazy. I mean, like thinking about what she had to go through. I mean, she's a really gritty performer. Like this is somebody that like, I mean, she is
falling to those knees over and over again. And
it's athletic.
As a 30-year-old now, oh my God, pain.
Pain. Yeah. I mean, I barely can walk after I go to like one CrossFit for like a month, like literally. No, but I'm just saying, like she really works at, like she's where she is for a reason. Talent and like really hard worker.
Yes,
obviously.
I mean plane, bus, train, another plane, another club, no sleep, no sleep.
I hope she's sleeping now because she's almost 40.
Tell us favorite Mayhem songs, least favorite Mayhem songs.
A lot of favorites. Love Killa.
Oh yes, that's a good one.
Killa to me is like, okay, so what I like about Mayhem a lot is that beyond just sort of going and re-indexing her own work, which I do think this is doing very well, it's also re-indexing her influences. Like I think she's going back to what formed her musical identity. So I hear a lot of Prince on this album. I hear a lot of David Bowie on this album. I hear Michael Jackson on Shadow of a Man. I hear, Blondie. I hear 9 Inch Nails on Perfect Celebrity.
Oh, yes. Wait, I heard that too. I was like, wait, this needs to be a David Fincher movie now.
Exactly. So I think that's a helpful angle that helps it get past just being like pure Gaga pastiche. So that's how I'm thinking about it. So Killa to me is like one of the most like, the songs I least feel like links directly back to old Gaga songs. Like I hear that song and I'm not able to draw one-to-one like I am with some of the other songs. I'm like, oh, this is that and that and that. It sounds like Bowie. It sounds like Prince. It's got kind of that wild abandon, like let's just try something sort of crazy feeling that I really missed from Gaga songs. It's kooky. It's weird. Some of the lyrics are like evidently silly, but I just think like it's so much fun. And like, that's the kind of energy I'm looking for in a Gaga song. So that's a definite standout for me. I also love Zombie Boy, the song that comes after it, which is kind of becoming a little viral on TikTok right now. It's like a sort of disco. It's definitely Bowie. It's definitely a little bit Debbie Harry. It's also kind of got that like kooky Halloween core thing that was a core Gaga, early Gaga thing. Like, Bad Romance, like kind of a Halloween classic. Fame Monster and sort of generally a Halloween classic. So it's got kind of like fun, campy, like, Monster Mash come disco vibes that I really appreciate. Love that song. I like Perfect Celebrity, which is a reheaty Nacho kind of song in the sense that like Gaga doing like fame commentary was like how she came up. Like that was her whole thing, is like, I'm doing, I'm both becoming a pop star and I'm commentating on becoming a pop star, which this song is also doing. But it's funny, it's lighthearted, and it's just hits. Like it just it
the
sounds
serotonin
so
rush of walking or driving to that song, it's different.
It's got that loud, soft, loud dynamic that like is like you can hear in like Smells Like Teen Spirit or something like that, where the verses are quiet and then the hook is just extremely loud and like hits you over the head, and that's a really effective like pop songwriting technique.
Mhm.
I like the dance tracks. I think those are working better for me than like the sort of like tacked on at the end ballads that are there to make Die With a Smile make sense.
Okay, you tweeted something about one of Mayhem's tracks sounding like a Taylor Swift song.
Sure.
You must legally say more.
But
on
wait,
the
can I
record.
say I was listening
which one?
and I was like, oh, I hear it. Like it is, what is it called?
How Bad Do You Want Me?
Yes.
Which could, I mean, that in and of itself, right? How bad do you want me?
And there is a Swiftie in the room with us right now, so like I would just for mindfulness is just important in this
And that's you?
community.
Of course it's her. You know me, girl. Be for real.
Hunter was on stage for like sheer comic relief when we did our Taylor show. She was just like, we needed someone to drag her in
No,
the corner.
truly,
Yeah.
my Taylor ranking was, I'll say it, crazy.
It was, but it was important that we had that. I gotta say.
I think Red was like my third to last. And I stand by it. Okay, but no, when I was listening, I was like, okay, with my like DJ Louie ears on, I was like, oh, this is giving Reputation.
Yeah.
It's giving
Mhm.
like call it what you want.
Call it what you want, right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
tell us more.
First of all, I'm not the first person to make this observation. I don't want to take credit. It was a widely sort of reported on thing by everybody who heard the song for the first time. But it's called How Bad Do You Want Me? And like it stands out from the rest of the record because I think it's the only one that really sounds like it's trying to do contemporary pop. And contemporary pop, obviously, in many ways, is defined by Taylor Swift. So it sounds like Taylor Swift. And I've been trying to decode why, because in some ways I think that's the craziest thing she does on this album. Like, why did she go in and like make a Taylor Swift, like in the midst of this whole album that's like about funk and 70s and then her own sort of like 90s and then her own kind of like history? Why all of a sudden is there just one random like Jack Antonoff ass song in the middle of this album? Like, I don't understand. So I've been like toying with this in my head a lot, and I'm thinking like my best explanation is, did she just do it to kind of prove that she could kind of like, I have this recollection. Do you remember the song, not to bring this into the room, do you remember the song Do What You Want featuring R. Kelly?
Okay, I hate to say it, but I loved that song.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Obviously
Yeah,
not the R. Kelly part.
Yeah.
But she did a cover.
She redid it with Christina Aguilera.
Yes, and
Yes,
thank God.
yeah.
But anyway, that was kind of like actually a really pivotal moment because that kind of derailed the art pop campaign and it never recovered. And in some ways her career kind of didn't for a while. But she talked about that song when she was promoting art pop, and she said that she wrote that song because she just wanted to prove that she could write that kind of like electro R&B song. She just wanted to show that she could do it. And so I've had that in mind with the How Bad Do You Want Me Taylor thing. Like I was like, maybe because like this album makes very little concessions towards how contemporary mainstream pop sounds right now. Like this album doesn't sound
For sure.
like the radio. It doesn't sound like other stuff that's happening
It's
right
not
now.
Sabrina Carpenter.
No, it doesn't
It's
sound
not
like Sabrina Carpenter. Right, exactly. So I thought maybe this was just kind of her one like wink, like if I needed to, I could do this. I'm not gonna, but like just so y'all know, like here it is.
I could
If I wanted to. And she does, it is a good Taylor Swift song. I mean, it's like a well-made Taylor Swift song. And let's just say like she's had one thing that's been pegged to her lately is that she can't get to number one without a feature. Because like her last three number ones have been Shallow, Rain on Me with Ariana Grande, and Die with a Smile with Bruno Mars.
Wait, I'm sorry, pause. Shallow is on a feature. What are you, featuring Bradley Cooper?
Yeah.
Oh my God. He can't win an Oscar, but can get to number one with Lady Gaga. That's so fucking funny.
Yeah. So she has that kind of dogging her. And I'm like, listen, if she wants another number one off this album, she should call up Taylor and she could do a duet.
Hey.
And we know Taylor is a little monster because the song that played before she came on stage at the Eras Tour was what? Applause.
Wow. And we know who'll be doing the singing. Lady Gaga. And we know that.
Women supporting women in my book. But
Louie, thank you so much for being here. This has been a real education.
Oh my God.
Truly.
Okay, now
Where can
tell
people
us,
follow you?
where can people follow you? Where can people follow Pop Pantheon?
Follow Pop Pantheon, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. We're on social media at Pop Pantheon Pod, Pop Pantheon Pod on all different platforms. And I'm at DJ Louie XIV on Twitter and Instagram.
We love it. Thank you.
Thank you both so much.
so
This was
much.
so fun.
I love this dynamic where like every few weeks, it's just time for me to talk about Housewives and for you to, slightly like be disinterested, politely nod along, give me like maybe a little like golf clap of approval.
I sit back, I just scroll I'm like, that's crazy. She did what? That's awesome.
Yeah, that's how it is
Which
when
Housewives franchise are we doing today?
Girl,
Where are we
Atlanta,
going
of
today?
course. Atlanta,
Okay.
hot Atlanta, dare I say. So Atlanta Housewives have gone through a little bit of a reboot. We are in it. It's kind of like when an NBA team was like in a rebuilding era for the sports fans in the room. So the cast, which used to be like such an anchor Housewives, was Atlanta with like Nene Leakes, with Sheba Sheree, with Candy Burruss.
With Sheba Sheree.
Sheree Whitfield, I guess. Now they have added, like, done like some like restructuring, added some younger, newer women. And I did watch 2 episodes so far, and I like it. Let me say this. I ride for one woman and one woman only. My North Star, my Lisan Al Gaib, my Club Chalamet, Nene Leakes. And in her absence, this'll do.
I just saw a quote that she said that she is open to coming back.
Well, she's been open to coming back. She has like a YouTube YouTube talk show.
Oh,
sorry, but
many such cases.
So the new cast is Portia Williams, who is like returner, Drew Sidora, Shamia Morton, Britt Eady, Kelly Farrell, and Angela Oakley, with Phaedra Parks joining as a wife, like a housewife later in the season, and Cynthia Bailey appears as a friend. And the anchor castmate is Shamia, who first appeared on the show as a friend of Portia's, which is kind of like, you know, nice. Like she's very like a Candy Burruss character, like Candy Burruss housewife, where she is not really quick to anger, but will like get to the point quickly and will point out like when someone else is being absurd and is like a good kind of audience proxy. And she's also incredibly wealthy. But Shamia has like, it's so nice to see, I don't know, she, despite having all of this money, like a house with like 3 elevators and like 4 closets and all of this stuff, she really does seem like so down to earth and relatable in a way that like, I don't know, I feel like sometimes the Black housewives get a lot of flack for like being out of touch or something like that. And like, she is so just like a regular girl who just happens to have a lot of money. And I don't know, I just find that like very winning from her.
You're like, and I love that. And I want that actually.
Yeah.
You're like, that would actually be great. Speaking of reboots, how would you compare the Roni reboot cast to the Real Housewives of Atlanta reboot cast?
It is like the NBA versus 3 cats and a pickleball trying to play basketball. I don't know. That's the best I can do.
You haven't dribbled a ball in your life, and it shows. My God.
Are you kidding? I did Montecasino's 3-on-3 elementary school basketball day, and I made one single basket, and I'm proud of me. No, it's like, first of all, it's not that the women on, it's just that like, it's not even about age or money or anything. It's like the women on Atlanta are like ready to start drama, start storylines, like, you know, just live their authentic, real lives. Where on like the Roni reboot, it's so like talking around stuff. They don't film together enough. Like it's just night and day. And what else about it? Oh yes. Okay. So in the season premiere, there's like a really funny moment where all women are like at Shamia's birthday, and Portia has found out that Drew Sidora, another woman on the show, has been sneaking around maybe with Portia's baby daddy. And Portia is like all of them are in this like same room, like same scene together. And Portia looks around. She's like, can I break the 4th wall? And a producer off camera, break it. And she's like, it shook the table for me.
Wait,
people
love that.
People were like, it's underwhelming. I was like, no, it wasn't, because Portia's whole thing is she's like, I don't even care if you're sleeping with my baby daddy, like whatever, like we're so not together at all. But you want to film with him? You want him in your scenes? Oh, hell no. And and thank God she stood on it too. And then that becomes like
break the 4th wall? Break it. Is really that's gonna be us. Listen, tussle. Like
no, I was like, wait, this is so funny. And it's funny that like she breaks the 4th wall, and the drama. I saw like a lot of Bravo people being like, the drama was not even like good enough to break the 4th wall. But I think that's funny that she's like the so like regular workplace struggles of like, don't you dare film with my ex-husband or with my like ex-man. That's so annoying of you. So a big part of this season's drama is that Kenya Moore, like iconic, not OG, but like, pretty substantial, Gone with the Wind, Fabulous, Twirl City, whatever you want to call it. Kenya Moore has been fired from the season of Atlanta. And it's not like we haven't gotten that far in the show yet, but it is like definitely a lot of bad blood between her and Bravo because she is on the show, but she doesn't even get confessionals. Even Cynthia Bailey gets a confessional and she's like not even a core cast member. And so what happened was that as they were filming, Kenya like showed like revenge porn basically of one of the other cast members, Britt Eady, and Bravo like completely cut her out of the show. And so I think we're like about to see, by the time this episode comes out, like we've either just seen or like are about to see exactly like what went down from like all the other women's perspectives. But I'm like, wow, Kenya is just, I mean, I think the Watch What Crappens guys were exactly right. She really is a good housewife when she's like locked in. She's so good at escalating something so small.
Is it confirmed that she did that, or is that like more speculative?
No, it is confirmed. She initially denied the accusation of revenge porn, but then she, on the Tamron Hall show, told Tamron Hall, hindsight is always 50-50. If I could do it all over again, I believe the photos were distasteful and I elevated the situation. So she did kind of admit to showing these like inappropriate photos. And, I mean, again, it's like nothing will be right in the world until Nene Leakes has a peach again.
You totally. I get onto these 5 minutes every couple of episodes to get things off her chest. This is therapy for her. I am the therapist in question. I'm listening. I'm learning. Hey, you're bringing me to the table, and I'm here for you. And I'm an ally. Bring Nene back.
You're so not an ally, which is so rude. Like I'm an ally to you at all times for all schemes, even ones that I don't believe in. White rappers.
Well, that's it for this week. As usual, we are 2 online, so you don't have to be.
One thing about me is that I love walking past a hospital and thinking, I know exactly what's going on in there. Thanks to the Pitt.
Don't let Hunter near ketamine. Ever, by the way. Recreationally or in a hospital. Jesus.
Let me say